All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about why your real estate business is struggling right now. And most importantly, what to do to turn the situation around so you can continue to grow, scale, thrive, and continue to kick ass in your real estate business, regardless of the marketplace. Look, a mistake that so many make is they allow themselves to play the victim card and hide behind the market. Got to understand that success is always internal. It is never external. It is not the market's fault if your business is down or if your business is up. It's not the market, right? Like, you need to get damn good at being able to navigate regardless of what the market is, like being able to navigate in all climates, all markets, right? And you do not need to participate if just because the economic, the overall economy might be experiencing recession or contraction, overall transaction volume might be in the decline, doesn't mean that you need to participate. Remember, success is always internal, never external. And what do losers do? Losers pull out the victim card and they blame outside circumstances for their lack of success. What do winners do? Winners are like, hey, man, here's the cards that have been dealt. Whether it's the hand I won or not, here are the cards that have been dealt. How do I best play this hand to go out there and ensure that I crush my goals regardless? Again, it has nothing to do with the market, with your overall lack of success. But there are some specific things that we need to dial in and we need to hone in on that maybe you haven't had to have in place previously, because we just came out of this longest bull market recorded history. So from 2012 to about 2022, the overall economic climate, the overall real estate climate was just so damn good. Like, meaning, and we'll probably never experience this again. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if we will or not, but the probability is pretty low. It's a very unique environment where it just allowed so many to in our industry to just kind of show up, kind of be consistent, kind of work hard, and go out there and make 6+ figures. It's just a damn easy climate. Well, then now that is done, gone, and that ship is sailed, okay, the average realtor's business is down 40% right now, in 2023 versus, in 2022 and previous years, which means then that translates into, okay, the average team is down, the average brokerage is down. So then again, what do we need to do to go out there and navigate and shift and turn this stuff around? First thing to do is understand where we are at. So we are now, at least as of right now, so what are we at right now? We are end of November 2023, as at least at the time of me recording this podcast. So we are now amongst the most unaffordable time that real estate's ever been in United States recorded history. And I know that there will be charts that are showing that, there's times in the 70s and 80s where unaffordability was less BS, right? Like, I will call BS to those. And okay, it might look at that way on a chart, but when we look at overall debt to income ratios, when we look at overall just the insane inflation that's happened to real estate and the lack of quality of life, there's just zero comparison, right? So we are now amongst the most unaffordable time to go out there and acquire real estate in U.S. recorded history. We are now in the most unaffordable time to ever be alive as a U.S. citizen. Never has it been more expensive to be alive, meaning that your money goes less, meaning that quality of life, like it used to be, at least growing up or when I first got in the real estate industry, like, dude, if you made $100,000 a year, like, you could go out there and do okay for yourself, right? $100,000 back then, 20 years ago, like when I first got in the real estate industry, or close to 20 years ago, now that's like making $40,000 today, right? Or 40,000 back then, when we put it into perspective, like, dude, our money is lost so much value. I mean, well over 40 to 50% in just the last 4 years, right? So we're just in a different overall climate. And we now, as we're stepping into this economic winter, things are going to get worse before they get better. Now, we'll see how this translates to the overall real estate industry, but it's all going to have an impact, right? We got evictions skyrocketing, right? All throughout the United States. We got notice of defaults, going, starting to skyrocket, right? You got, people as far as savings rate just getting eviscerated. You got debt going through the roof, right? So what we're seeing is, okay, the average person is having a very, very, very difficult time, and it's crushing the average person in this overall market climate. Now, I don't share any of this to scare you, any of this to freak you out. We just need to have awareness of it, so then we can adjust and pivot and identify where the opportunities are at accordingly, when it comes to creating success. All right, so now we're going to jump into primarily the three things that it takes to go out there and create big success in a market like this. And these are really three fundamental things that we should have always been doing. And you should have been doing and you should continue to do going forward. But again, we came out of such an easy era where the vast majority of people in this industry just never had to do these things, because they never, and I know some of you have been doing this for a long time, right? Some of you, were around during, let's just say that, the 86, 87 crash, or the dot-com, bubble burst, and then around 9/11, and then around the great financial crisis. And then, but a lot of you, got in this game post 2012. And then even those that were in the game previously, a lot I've seen, they just forgot the habits that they had or the foundations that they had in place. All right, so let's do a deep dive into these and get rocking and rolling with this. All right, so real quick though, before I get into the three things, I want to make sure that you do not hinder your overall success by making the number one mistake that people make, especially in real estate, but this applies to all things. But we're speaking to real estate here because this is helping this podcast is dedicated to real estate professionals growing and scaling their real estate business. So the number one mistake that you can make that will hinder your success more than anything else is giving into your ego. I want you to understand that amateurs are those that were trained at one point in time. I went out, I got a degree, or I got my real estate license, and then I'm doing my CE credits. That's how amateurs approach this, right? They were trained at one period of time, but they're not consistently always training to go out there and level up their skill set. Where professionals are always training, right? So it's like, even to this point, even though where I'm at in my business today, right, where I've got, hundreds of locations, as far as on the franchise level, and being one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet, selling over 7,000 homes, being in the top 1% of practitioners in this industry, I still spend about 2 to 3 hours every single day in self-development, sharpening my skill set. So when I say the number one thing that will hinder your success more than anything else is just ego, right? Well, that is allowing ourselves to get to the point where we think that we don't need to level up our skill sets, right? Because the second you stop growing is the second you're going to stop decaying, and your business is going to start deteriorating, and eventually it's going to bite you in the ass, right? So again, true professionals always understand there's always improvement. They're always going to be going out there and leveling up their skill sets. They understand that they don't know it all. Right. And they look at this as, from the lens of, I'm always a student. I'm always going to be a student. I'm always looking to level up and master my skill sets. All right. So remove that ego and become a student nonstop, right. Understand that even if you're good at something, okay, you can become exceptional, right. And continue leveling up those games. So I never want you to get to that point where you're like, oh, I already know this, right. Here's what I want you to do. When you catch yourself saying that, I want you to ask yourself then 3 follow-up questions. Okay. If I already know this, number 1, am I doing it? Number 2, have I mastered it? Number 3, do my results prove that I've mastered it? And if so, I should be banging on your door, beating your door down, begging you to allow me to interview, to come on my podcast, because you're the best of the best in the industry, at that thing. And until then, even at that point, like you'll realize, the more that you learn and know, the more you realize you don't know, but do, like, if you're not there yet, you haven't mastered it. So you got a longer, more to go, right? All right. So what are the 3 things that it takes to go out there and succeed in this marketplace? And then I'm going to break these down one by one. Okay. Number 1, you got to be a great operator, meaning treating your business as a business. And I'm going to do a deep dive into that. Number 2, you got to have the right strategy to go out there and deploy in this overall market. Number 3, skill set mastering. Again, we're going to break these all down one by one. Before I do, though, for any of you that are looking to take your real estate business to the next level, and if you need some help with this, if you need some assistance with this, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the, kind of little ticker bar on what am I on right now? StreamYard, this new service that I just started streaming on. If any of you guys are using StreamYard, I'd love to, learn from, what are some, tips and tricks and hacks that you found? If you're watching this on YouTube, comment below, certain best practices. Like I just signed up like 2 hours ago. Like I just hit record button. Like I don't know shit about shit when it comes to StreamYard. But it seems like a pretty dope service. But anyway, with this being said, if it would be helpful for you, and you would like to schedule 100% zero pressure, 100% free, zero pressure coaching strategy call with me personally, where we can, jam on Zoom for an hour talking about where your business is at, where it is that you want to go, the obstacles that you're experiencing, and I can help craft a plan of what to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. And look, full disclosure, yes, I'm going to spend, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes of that total call talking about what my coaching program entails. And look, I might be able to have a solution for you, and I may not. Yeah, right. Like sometimes I may not be the best person for you. And I'll be upfront and honest with that too. But yeah, I mean, okay, 55 minutes of the 60-minute call, I might spend a few minutes talking about my coaching program. If it's for you, great. If not, that's okay too. The other time of that, 95% of that call is going to be dedicated to your business. And whether you ever move forward with my coaching or not, everything I do is zero pressure. But whether you move forward or not, I'm going to make sure that this call is extremely powerful for you. You're going to leave that call knowing exactly what you need to do and what you need to focus on. Then from there, if you want my support, making sure that you get from where you're at to where you want to go, then cool. We can have a conversation about that. And just so you guys know too, my coaching program, not only is it the most effective business building coaching program that exists in the industry, it's hands down the most affordable, right? So your mind will be blown when you see how inexpensive it is. I guarantee you, most of you are spending more on your daily Starbucks than you ever will my coaching program, right? So I don't want you to worry about pricing or any of that. And again, this is just a chance for us to sit down, for us to have an hour-long coaching call that's free, zero pressure, and again, zero hassle, 100% free. We can talk about your business. All right, so you go to gsdmode.com. You will see a top banner where you can go out there and book that. And this is going to be with me personally. The only thing I ask you is when you schedule it, show up. Right? Because I'm taking away, time out of, my business, my life, my family. If you're going to schedule with me, I will be there. I will show up. I did one on Thanksgiving morning with somebody. They were up in Canada, so it wasn't Thanksgiving for them, but I took away an hour out of my Thanksgiving morning with my family to go out there but I love this stuff and I'm here to help you. But you show up, dude, because like if you no-show me and waste my time with that, just don't do that to me. I won't do that to you. I just ask that you don't do that to me. Okay, let's jump back into the content at hand. Okay, so the 3 things that it takes to succeed. Number 1, great operator. Number 2, the right strategy. Number 3, skill set mastery. Let's break these down individually here. Now, some of these, if you've been watching and listening to this podcast for some time now, some of these are going to sound repetitive to you. But dude, repetition is more important than new knowledge and new information. We need to, be reminded and reinforced what these fundamentals are. And again, don't be like, oh, I already know this, right? That's what losers do. That's what amateurs do. Professionals operate from okay, when I already think I already know this, okay, number 1, am I doing it? Number 2, have I mastered it? Number 3, do my results prove that I've mastered it? Right? Okay, so number 1, being a great operator. What does this mean? This means treating your business as a business, which the vast majority don't in this industry. So what does that mean? Right? So treating your even when I talk to, and start working with brokerage owners and team leaders, usually only about 5% of them actually operate as what I mean by a true operator. So what does that mean? Treating your business as a business or being a true operator. There's 4 components to this. Okay. Number 1, understand and you master the game. Right. So we understand what the overall real estate game is. The vast majority in our industry don't even know the damn game that they're playing. Right. This is why, okay, yeah, we're in a saturated real estate industry with a bunch of realtors and other teams and brokerages. But dude, like 95% of them are not your competition because they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Right. And I'm not just talking about from a contractual aspect. I'm talking about when it comes to running a business, there is a reason why 7% of us make 93% of the income. Right? It's just how this industry goes, right? There's a reason why the average realtor, average team leader, and average brokerage owner out there are broke as a joke, and they make way more money if they just went and started working or running McDonald's than they ever would in the real estate business, and they're not your true competition, right? They don't level up. They don't treat this stuff, they're not operating as a true professional. And when I say a true professional, I'm not talking about, the way that you dress, even though that can, may not hurt, if you've been watching this podcast for a long time. That when I was in production personally, my job is just the CEO of my real estate businesses. So I'm not, client facing anymore. But when I suited up every day. I always believe in dressing apart. So I'm not talking about being okay, I might dress like a scrub today. I might have tattoos. I know I don't have the cleanest language. That's not what I mean by being a true professional. Right now, I'm not saying that, I recommend to, follow what I do and how I don't know how to be anybody but me and my own authentic self. But when I'm talking about true professionals, man, you understand the game that you're playing and you master every element of it and you take this thing extremely serious. That's what I mean by true professional, right? So then from there, okay, what is the game that we are playing? right? So we got to understand what the overall real estate game is. The overall real estate game is this: get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, fault frequently, your business continues to grow. Very simplistic, right? Well, then from there, in order to go out there and be victorious at any game, we got to know the direction and the instructions. Like with chess, okay, I can understand that the overall game is to go out there and capture my opponent's king, right? But then from there, in order for me to do that, I got to know what all the pieces are, how they move across the board, what's allowed, what's not allowed. Like I got to know the instructions and directions, right? So then if we look at the overall real estate sales funnel, which is the directions of the real estate game, starts off with activities. We're going to go out there and do activities, offering something of value in exchange for people's contact information. Then boom, they enter the funnel, right? AKA our CRMs, and now they become a lead. Okay, then leads, so activities exist to 100% generate leads and generate leads only, right? It's the only reason activity exists that we are partaking in when it comes to our overall real estate business. Then from there, okay, with leads, right? Leads exist to go out there and set appointments. Appointments set exist to go out there and conduct those appointments. Appointment conductions exist to go out there and turn those into clients. Clients exist for under contracts. Under contracts exist to spit out a commission check. Doesn't stop there. Now they're a past client, and then boom, come up and become our number one past client, number one lead source, right? With our past clients, repeat referral business, right? So that's the overall real estate sales funnel. And it doesn't matter what level that you're at, whether you're an individual agent, whether you're a mega team or mega brokerage, or if you're like me running, a large team plus, have, thousands of agents. It doesn't matter what level that you are at. The game is all the same. The only difference is now, like, okay, well, if you look at just my real estate team, I'll tell you, because I get asked all the time, like, well, what would you do if you started over today, right now, Josh? I'm like, I do the same thing. The only difference is I might have 100 people playing the game or 1,000 people playing the game. It's all the same game. And okay, if you're like me at the level that I'm at, where I'm not personally working with buyers and sellers anymore, okay, my job though, as a leader of my company, is to ensure that my agents and my people are playing the game. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. The game does not change. The only thing that differs and changes is how big we choose to scale the game. And then, some of the strategies and models that we have, like those can differentiate, which we'll talk about more. Right? So, okay, step number one is to know and understand and master the game. Step number then two is to develop processes around every phase of the overall game. Right. So processes are just our step-by-step actions that we are doing to go out there and get the desired result that we want. Right. So this is taking what's out of your head, putting it onto paper. So then we have a documented process for everything A to Z inside of our real estate businesses. Right. So if you look at like my real estate business, I'm a process and system freak. There's not one element of my business that I don't have a dedicated process to. And this is how I can take brand new agents fresh out of school and within 6 months, get them making 20 or 30 grand a month after splits, even after team splits, within a 6-month period of time. Right? I can take a brand new agent fresh out of school and get them crushing and dominating agents that have been doing this 10, 20 years because they have proven processes and systems to plug into. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is how I'm able to take coaching clients that are even brand new and getting them into in 2 years, growing and developing a real estate business where they're out of production operations and netting over $1 million a year. So essentially they're able to go build what took me 10 years to build, because I had to go out there and figure all this stuff out. Now they're able to plug into proven processes and systems. We're able to scale at exponentially faster rate, speeds than I was ever able to scale. In 2 to 3 years, they can replicate what takes, it took me 10 plus years to go out there and do, because again, they're plugging into proven processes and systems. Okay, so we got every element of the game. We got a dedicated documented process for that. Then those processes live inside of a system. So the system is the cookbook. The processes are the recipes. And you're going to have different systems inside your business for different reasons, but those systems only exist to house your processes. I know it's a little confusing, but you got to grasp this. You got to understand this, and you got to be damn good at going out there and building these and deploying these inside your business. You will not be able to continue to grow, scale, and thrive if you don't. Okay, then step number 4 is tracking. You got to track each stage of the game, right? Like you got to know your numbers inside and out inside your business. It's the only way to make smart strategic decisions inside your business. Now, the 5th component of being a great operator and treating your business as a business is, once those first 4 things are dialed in, then eventually now you're going to start plugging in the right people strategically at the right times. You got to know who to hire, when to hire, how to bring them on, and depending on what your goals are, like you might just be like, hey man, I'm cool with just doing 100 deals a year by myself. I just need, one full-time, rock star assistant to allow me to go out there and do that. And that's winning for me. Great. Still going to take people. Right? They always be like, oh, I close 100 deals a year as an individual agent. There's no individual agents, at least to my knowledge, that are closing 100 deals a year. Not one. And I could be wrong, but not to my knowledge. I've yet to see one, right? They have a team, right? A team, the way I define it, means more than one, right? So, okay, like you hiring a full-time assistant, I know some, quote unquote, individual agents that will get awards for, closing 3, 4, 500 deals a year as a, quote unquote, individual agent. But what do they have? They got like 5 full-time assistants. Right. So they might be the only licensed agent on those contracts, but they have a team, right? It's just structured in a different way. And I'm not saying that to degrade anybody's production. Doing 100 deals a year with a full-time assistant is freaking awesome. Right. What I mean by this is eventually you are going to hit a capacity flying all on your own. And you have a choice to make of, okay, do I stay here? Or if I want to continue growing scale, eventually you're going to need some help. Right. But like, I don't care how great people are. If they don't have great systems and process to plug into, if you don't have a way to inspect what you expect through tracking and through those systems, like they're not going to be able to show you their greatness. So that's what I mean by number one, being a great operator. You got to dial those things in. Doesn't take long. If you go out there and figure this stuff, like it took me 10 years to figure this out on my own. But if you jump into, like a mentorship program like mine, okay, we can really have all this stuff dialed in about 4 months max. And that's like kind of working an hour a day on the sidelines to get this stuff dialed in. It's a very quick process. Okay, number 2 is the right strategy. During different market shifts, there's different strategy and or strategies that you need to deploy. Okay, the last 18 to 24 months, things have shifted, things have changed. Right? Like, okay, if you were doing the same things and you're getting, and you're not getting the same results, that's the definition of insane. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. This is where I'm seeing, okay, the average agent's business is down 40, 50, 60% because there are, things like, oh, well, I was, spent 10 years building up my solid book of business and I got really reliant on repeat referral business coming in. And it was good, man. We're doing 100, 150 deals a year just from past client repeat referral business. But that's really, been hindered because of the unaffordability crisis that we're experiencing. So my business is down 50, 60, 70% now, and I don't know what to do. Right? This is a very common thing, right? So you got to make sure that you have the right strategy for the given market that we are in. Right. So the one constant is going to be the real estate that you sell. So I look at this as an example. Okay, like my niche, if you will, for my real estate business here in Phoenix, Arizona, is residential real estate. So 4 or less units, residential real estate in this geographical location. My job is to be an expert at that. That's my product. My job is to be an expert at my product. Residential real estate in this geographical location, and that's the one constant. Right. So that's the one concept. It's always traded hands, always has, always will. And my almost 19 years of doing this. What's the variable that has changed? Who's buying, who's selling, why are they buying, why are they selling, where are they going, where are they coming from? Right. So then from there, my job is to know and be able to move the product with whomever is transacting with it in any given market. Then from there, I got to identify, okay, who's buying, who's selling, why are they buying, why are they selling, where are they going from, where are they coming from as different markets shift. Because again, it's always transacting, it's always trading hands. But my strategies today are vastly different than they were even 18 months ago, and some even more than they were 12 months ago. Right? Like right now, okay, it's the second easiest time that I've seen in my entire career to go out there and stack up listings. There's no reason, even as a part-time agent, why you shouldn't be listing a house a week right now. If you had 90 minutes of dedicated time a day to go out there and deploy the right strategies, you're talking a listing a week with that. Right? So then let's just say 75% of listings in your market are selling. Well, then, that's 3 closings a month. How would that impact and change your life? Right? Just thinking about that, right? So, but you got to make sure that you're deploying the right strategies for the right market. And if you want to continue, grow, scale, and thrive year after year in your real estate business, you got to have the ability to read markets, right? Because they're going to shift. They're going to change. Here's an example. one of our big clients that we've had for years and years and years, that we were averaging about 20 units a month with one particular client. When interest rates started spiking heavily about 2 years ago, they're like, boom, we're done. We're pausing. Peace out. Right? Like they just stopped buying altogether. Now we're used to doing about 20 units a month, about 240 deals a year with this particular client. And they're like, hey, until interest rates come down, until this real estate market thing, figures itself out, like we're done. Okay, well, I had to pivot my strategy. I can't have my business being down 20 deals a month, right? Like that's unacceptable for me. So we had to pivot strategies, right? So you got to make sure number 1 is being a great operator. Number 2, you got to have the right strategy for the right given market. Just understand that what worked yesterday will not always work tomorrow. And then sometimes, okay, from like 2012 till probably 2022, okay, sometimes you can be doing the same thing for 5 years or 10 years. But there's going to be times where the market disrupts it, things disrupt it. You've got to be able to read those markets and shift strategy accordingly. Okay, number 3 is skill set mastery. Right? The quickest way to 2, 3, 4x your business is not to go out there and 2, 3, 4x the amount of hours that you're working, right? It's to get 2, 3, 4x better at what it is that you are doing. This is a market. Now, when we have transaction volume almost cut in half, right? But we also have the same amount of realtors, right? Going after lesser listings, lesser transactions, and so forth. And same with teams and brokerages. This is a market where you cannot waste opportunities. Again, over the last decade, 2012 through 2022, there's abundance of people wanting to buy or sell. You could just be average, you could just be mediocre and go out there and make 6+ figures. Right? Like you can't do that anymore. And I know that none of you, well, I shouldn't say none of you. There's probably a contingent of you that are cool with making 6 figures. I know most of you want to get to that point of making 7+ figures in this business eventually. Right? And always to make 7+ figures, skill sets always matter. It's one of the biggest difference between, 5-figure earners, 6-figure earners, and 7-figure earners is those that are making 7+ figures understand skill set matters and they go out there and master it. So let's just use Zillow as an example, because that's a lead source that we all, know, and whether you like them or don't like them. I'm not saying to do them. I'm just saying, is an example here. Okay. If I can convert at 20% on Zillow conversion rates, and let's just say the average agent is at a 1%. And that would be, just average agent out there. Right. So, and let's just say, okay, if I look at, okay, like internally, I wouldn't, if anybody was below 3.5%, I'd kick them out. Like if I was doing Zillow internally on a team, or if I was coaching you and you had Zillow, if anybody wasn't converting at least 3.5%, like I would, boot them out of your Zillow department. So I'd look at that as below average. I'd want to, see an average overall team company average, between 5 and 10%, but 10% would be the overall objective and goal. But then from there, okay, 20% is going to be a kind of top echelon, those that are really go out there and master it. Okay, so if we're looking at this, okay, if I am converting at 20%, and let's just, say quote unquote industry average is converting at 1%. Now we're getting the same amount of leads, we're investing the same amount of money, the same amount of energy, the same amount of time. I'm just getting a 20x greater result out of the same thing. Right? Let's just say, okay, Facebook leads. Okay, maybe I'm converting at 1 out of 30, and maybe you're converting at 1 out of, 200, 1 out of 300, or even 1 out of 100, which is pretty decent for our industry, 1 out of 100. But if I'm converting 1 out of 30, okay, I'm getting 3 times the result, making 3 times the income with the same amount of money, same amount of time, same amount of energy spent. Okay, if we're doing open houses, if you're converting 1 out of 50 and I'm converting 1 out of 10, okay, I've just 5x your results, right? I don't have to do 5 times. We're doing the same amount of open houses, same amount of traffic, same amount of time, energy, money. I'm just getting 5 times the amount of commission checks cashed, making 5 times the amount of income because I'm 5 times better than you. Same with agent recruiting. Doesn't matter what level that you're at with this. Like you got to master, your ability to go out there and generate leads. You got to master your conversions and optimize and maximize your conversions, and all the way through the process. But this is what I'm talking about with mastering your overall skill set. So thinking about the overall sales cycle from, activity all the way through that commission check in hand, right? What's each phase of that sales cycle, and how do I maximize and optimize conversion rates? And so it's not just from lead to client or lead to appointment set, but then, okay, look at appointment set to appointment conductions. Industry average is a 50% show rate. Okay. Like, dude, that's ridiculous. You should at least be at 75% or greater. And that'll take all of 5 minutes to figure out what to do to get that from 50% to 75%. Like this stuff does not take long. Yeah, right. Like a lot of times within a 5-10 minute conversation with any of my coaching clients, like we get these things massively increased. Where this is why they can go out there and 2, 3, or 4x their business so damn fast. Because we're able to make those right refinements where they're mastering those little things inside their business, but skill set 100% matters. Yeah, right. So this is where, again, if you're letting your ego stifle, oh man, I already know how to do a buyer consultation. I already know how to do a listing presentation. I'm good at agent recruiting. This is something that I hear all the time from team leaders or brokers. Oh, I'm good at agent recruiting. And then I look at their numbers, and the numbers are dog shit. Right. But here's the great thing is I'm like, look, by just making a couple tweaks with your agent recruiting presentation in your process, like, dude, we can get you 2, 3, 4x the results without doing any more effort. That's what I mean with increasing your skill set. And especially in a climate right now where we've had this contraction, you cannot afford to waste opportunities or have your agents wasting opportunities. So make sure that you are doing, and this is where I said earlier, okay, I'm spending about 2 to 3 hours every single day in self-development. It's because I'm always trying to sharpen the edge on my own personal skill set, right? Even though I'm in the top 1%. I've made over $50 million in gross commissions in my, almost 19 years of doing this, right? Like I'm in the, in the top of the top of our industry, which would be easy to allow myself to get to a point where, okay, I already know this. I never allow myself to do that, right? Like I'm a student, dude, I'm a student of the game. And I don't care if it's, I'm having a, learning from a new agent season. Like I'm always like, I'm just thirsty and hungry always for new knowledge and to go out there and improve my skill sets. I'm always reflecting on this stuff, looking for new ways to improve this. Right. And when you have that student mindset, boom, things just start, you start to experience that exponential growth. Right. So do not allow yourself to get that ego, right? Where, I already know this. I don't need that growth, because I promise you it is going to bite you in the ass. The thing that is costing you more money than anything else is the skill sets that you are choosing to not go out there and acquire. And I hear this all the time, man. People are like, oh, well, Josh, I don't have the money to invest, or man, I'm not willing to invest $199 a month for your coaching mentorship program. Right. Where it's like, okay, like the amount of skill sets that we can get honed in and dialed in for only $199 a month. Right. And I just give the program essentially away because I want to go out there and impact it. I should be charging 10 grand a month for this program, but I choose to essentially give it away because I want to impact as many people as I possibly can in this industry that's changed every aspect of my life. But then from there, it's like, okay, look, that's somebody that's small-minded, right? That is, okay, they don't understand that $199 a month that they're not willing to invest is costing them tens of thousands of dollars every single month on the skill sets that they're not acquiring, because that's the most expensive thing that you will ever, most costly thing that you will ever experience in your business. And dude, it doesn't need to be my coaching. I'm not here to just try to sell you, whoever it is. If it's not me, go out there and find the person that you're going to learn from. Yeah. Right. I would hope it would be me, right. And I'd be honored to, I will not let you down, right. Like I will make sure you know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, support you every step of the way. You have 7 days a week of access to me throughout, the whole entire experience. So as you're experiencing the obstacles, boom, we can hammer these out and dial these things in day by day and keep your business moving forward and growing, right. So I don't know of anybody better than me. But if you know of somebody better than me, that you can go out there and learn from, regardless of what you pay them, I can promise you this, that the skill sets that you are not acquiring is costing you a hell of a lot more money than anything that you would invest into, acquiring those skill sets. All right. So again, dial these 3 things in and you will ensure that you are crushing 2024 and going forward, regardless of the overall market out there. And again, you guys, if you are needing help, and this is just, I'm not even talking about my coaching program right now, but if you want some help and you want to schedule a 100% free coaching call with me personally, not having to pay for it, we'll just, schedule an hour-long Zoom call where we can talk about where your business is at, where it is that you want to go, obstacles that you're experiencing. And yes, of that 60 minutes, because I don't want to, give you false impressions, I will spend about 5 minutes of that, talking about my coaching program and seeing if it's a fit for you. And if not, hey, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to, right. I'm not going to ask you to whip out a credit card. I'm not going to beg you. If it's for you, great. If not, that's okay too. Regardless, whether it's for you or regardless of whether you ever do business with me or not, I will make sure that this time is well spent, well invested, where then that way you'll know exactly what to go out there and take action on. Yeah. Right. But now if you want my help to making sure that you do those things right and that you don't fail with those implementations, then okay, right, we can move forward with my coaching program if that's something that you want to move forward with. But if not, again, I'm going to walk you through and I'll give you the roadmap. Right. During our time together, I'll walk you through and show you, hey, exactly what you need to get dialed in, what you need to take action on to ensure your business gets you to, or get to where you want to be at in your business. So you have nothing to lose, everything to gain, nothing to lose. So you can schedule that by going to gsdmode.com. which is my website, gsdmode.com. The very top, there will be a banner that you'll see to be able to schedule your 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally. Or you can go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. where you can schedule that. Takes you to the same place, same sign up link, all of that. The only thing that I ask is that you show up, right? Like I will be there. I will pour into you and give you an hour of my time and do everything I can to support your business and help you crush it and kick ass. I just ask that you don't waste my time, right? Like, make sure that you show up. I will be there. I'll be on there. I'll probably be on 5 minutes early, waiting for you. Just make sure that you show up, right? I'm happy to help and pour in to help anybody that's committed. But dude, I've got kids, I've got a wife, I've got a busy, life outside of this business too. And I'm happy to be there and support you. Just please show up. Right. So, and as long as you show up, we'll be good to go. All right, you guys, keep crushing it. Hope that this was helpful. Go out there and dominate 2024, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.